Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over a couple of Venoxia teams. Before I do though, consoles, you guys just got the 2.2 update, which brought all of the event stuff. I'm not going to be going over in this video, but in the corner over there, in the top right, I do have a video that goes over completely. I'll also put the full change log as well as that video in the description for any of you that want more information on all the changes and just on the event system in general. But anyways, this week is the Venoxia week on event keys. I do not really advise using a Venoxia or your event keys to try to get a Venoxia this week. There is Venoxia. But if you happen to have one and you don't really know what to do with it, this video is for you because we'll go over a couple of teams right here. So let's just go over to our 3 trophy. There are 2 variants of this first team that we can do. The stronger version is a Crimson Bat, Gorgulfa, Venoxia, Crimson Bat, which is what we are going to be using. But if you need a more budget-related one, you can use a Wolf Knight, White, Venoxia, and White on a Absol banner, the +2 purple, +1 red, -1 yellow. You'll mainly be using this to get a bunch of souls from the whites. The whites will feed the Venoxia will feed the whites, and everything on this team does true damage, so you'll be able to utilize it like that. And of course, in this team, we'll be using it with the Crimson Bats, which have a really high AoE damage that hits all enemies with true damage, and that on top of the Venoxia dealing 4 damage to all enemies will be pretty useful. It did get buffed a couple weeks ago to now have 4 damage whenever it casts for true damage instead of 2, so it's more aligned with something like a Marilift. Marilift does 6 damage to all enemies every single time it casts. So off the bat, we will want to go for something like a Gorgulfa if we can. That would be optimal, as that would give us all the colors we really need. If we cannot go for a Gorgulfa, we'll likely want to try getting some Venoxia mana, but both of those are the ones we're going to be using to get our team looping. Of course, it appears we seem to be getting a lot of Crimson Bat mana, just from our takes, which isn't really going to help us too much here. If you don't have a fully traded Crimson Bat, you can place the Gorgulfa up front, and you can do something like a Dust Devil if you don't have a fully traded Gorgulfa, just to mess up the enemy team's alignment, or even just the Wolf Knight, though later in the game you wouldn't really want to use a Wolf Knight in your composition. It just takes a little bit too long to really get going. But there we go on the Gorgulfa. We'll be able to use that to get a lot of our mana. There appears to be a good majority of our Venoxia mana on the board, so we'll be able to Gorgulfa that, get a good majority of that, and there we go, perfect. We do get all of its mana, and now we can start casting. Looks like there's a decent amount of green and blue. It does create 9 green and 9 blue onto the board, which with that much on the board will likely give us an extra turn, as it does right there. And we could keep looping it. Normally, if you're going to use it in a first lot Venoxia-like team, you will loop it. In a case like this, we use it mainly for mana, so now we can start casting the Crimson Bats or the Whites if you were using the White-related team instead. And main benefit of a Crimson Bat compared to a White is that it does indeed hit everything, makes matches go a lot quicker. The only downside of a Crimson Bat compared to a White is a White actually gives souls, which is pretty nice on it if you need the souls, of course. And we'll just throw down another Venoxia. Hopefully the poison will kill him, or we'll get an extra turn, one of the two. Okay, perfect. We get the extra turn. Let's see. We'll get our Crimson Bat up, and that is the match. So there we go. And now let's do the other team. Some troops that you can kind of pair with a Venoxia are like Lady or Nariel, and really anything that can get a lot of greens and blues on the board. Valkyrie's pretty common, Loyalty, stuff like that. Oh, Bone Dragon. We may want to skip out on a Bone Dragon. Bone Dragons, as you guys know, are really annoying right now. And good, here's a not Bone Dragon, and works pretty nice because we're kind of doing something similar. We're going to be going for the Justice team. I do show this quite a bit, but it's simply because it's so cheap to build for most people. It's just a Valkyrie, a Justice, which everyone pretty much has. Of course, if you're here for a Venoxia team, then you already have the Venoxia, assumingly. And as far as the last slot, yes, fully traded Queen Mab is a little bit harder to obtain, but you can just put an Ice Golem there instead, or a Borealis, neither of those two needing any traits. So we'll go in with this, the +2 red, +2 red, +1 yellow, -1 brown banner from Dragon's Claw. We'll be utilizing this to be able to get our Valkyrie up really quick. We also don't use brown, so we have no penalty for using this composition. So right here, it looks like we'll give him blues, but we'll get our mana. I was kind of hoping for a nice cascade, but we'll give him a little bit. He did end up freezing our Queen Mab, so it's basically like our Queen Mab isn't traded. So if any of you don't have a traded Queen Mab, what we're using right now is essentially that. So I will probably poke on the skull. We do gain a pretty substantial amount of attack. Venoxia is really, really good for dealing nice amounts of skull damage for single shots and stuff like that. With the Justice, ideally we will want to get that up to the point where it can indeed just one-shot everything on the enemy team. And as long as we can get a good move here, we should be good into getting into that. Doesn't look like we have it though. We can take out purple for an extra turn. Isn't going to do much for us beyond that. We have some brown pokes, so I guess we'll just go for the extra turn and take some of our reds then. So we'll get the freeze off. Our Queen Mab did end up cleansing itself, so that is good for us. We'll probably bait out a skull. We have enough HP on Venoxia right now that it will be fine taking a single tank like that. And still, oh yes, we do have alignment. Perfect, right on the color that we do not use. Always good to get the convert on any color that you don't use, since you don't need it on the board. It has no benefit to you. Might as well get rid of it if it is possible to do so. Okay, so a little bit of a weird board to have to do this on, but we will throw the Justice. Pretty obvious that that would have missed, unfortunately. Oh, did it get an extra turn there? No, it did not. Good. We could try focusing down with skulls, might be a good idea at this point. This won't give us an extra turn, unfortunately, because the blue is in the way. Is there any way we can drop this? No, we cannot. I'm trying to find some kind of way that we can extra turn that, but we can do the blue, and regardless of what we do here, it's not going to be able to give us an extra turn, it doesn't look like. Because if we take that, it's just going to give us a 3-pair, not a 4-pair. It will give us skulls, though, so we might as well take it, since any other move would give us skulls anyways. Oh, and a double skull, too. So that was over 100-something attack right there. Oh, he does have fully traded Karnak, so that will do a pretty substantial amount of damage to us. We are frozen on blue as well, which could be annoying, because that will reduce the chance that Venoxia can get us a extra turn. Karnak, I'm not too worried about. Oh, we do cleanse on the blue, so if we do get that on extra turn, which we don't, that would have been helpful, but looks like our Venoxia may go down. He is using Karnak, so it's going to be somewhat helpful for us. We do have enough skull damage to almost one-shot him at this point. He did end up refreezing us on an important color, but we'll just take that. Using Queen Mab won't help us too much right here. Oh, don't you dare. Oh, there goes Queen Mab. Just for that, I might need a Queen Mab back. So we'll reflect the Queen Mab then. He's going to play like that. We'll throw back the Queen Mab and just do it on skulls. But yeah, Venoxia in first slot, of course, it isn't the most tankiest of troops. It does gain pretty high attack fairly quick if you can get things looping with it. Normally, like I said, you just put things that can just put more greens and blues on the board. Are normally best. You can do something with a purple too, like a giant spider to help feed it out if you're doing something like a Lady or an Aerial with it, because Lady or an Aerial and Venoxia both do create the same exact colors at almost the exact same amount too, so they work pretty decent together. And as you can see, our Valkyrie is basically doing our Venoxia's job at this point now that it has gained enough attack, which is just one-shotting through the rest of the team, so we just need one last little poke. One pretty good benefit of this, of course, since we're using the Valkyrie, we will be getting our max capacity of souls for the battle, so that will be helpful as well. We'll just throw that at brown. I believe that is the match. Oh wait, never mind, we lose our turn, and we didn't get a skull out of it, so next turn shall be a match. Let's just move that, maybe we can get a quick skull. Okay, we'll have to random it. Hopefully we get it. And no, a complete miss. And we can't freeze her either because she has the insulated, which prevents freezing. And of course, board not wanting to give us much. Not wanting to give us much at all. So we'll just have to keep poking until we can just get an opening to do the final skull. Was that yellow there the previous turn? May have been. But it'll go for a skull. We'll follow up hopefully with a skull. Doesn't look like we... Yes, we do. Right there. So that's that. Poor Venoxia. No. As far as Venoxia traits, definitely do not. Do not trade up your Venoxia. You're much better off doing it with any of the empowered troops, as well as the Kraken are much better options than a fully traded Venoxia. Basically, no Venoxia traits do you really use. You may occasionally kind of get some pokes off with the poison, but you really do not need to use the green purples that you can get this week for your Venoxia. Much better to invest that in other troops that you happen to have, with Kraken being the absolute best, or if you need a early game cheaper option, Siren is probably the best to use for your green purple. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and I will see you all later. Goodbye.